You know, if you've spent pretty much any time online this year, you've been hit with all sorts of claims about artificial intelligence. It's either going to save us all, or it's our doom, it's a genius, or it's a total fraud. It's just chaotic. And all that noise is stopping us from figuring out what AI really is. So in this explainer, we're going to cut right through it. Okay, so let's get right to the big question. Are we really living through some massive technological revolution, or is all this AI panic just a big distraction from other, maybe bigger issues? We're going to separate the myths from the reality of AI as it stands right now in 2026. And yeah, this pretty much sums up the problem perfectly, right? On one side, you've got the hype artists promising this perfect utopia, and on the other, you have the doomsayers who are basically predicting a sci-fi apocalypse. The truth, as we're about to see, is a lot more down to earth and, frankly, a whole lot more useful. Let's start with the biggest, most persistent myth out there, the idea that AI is coming for your job. I mean, this fear has been all over the headlines and in conversations for years now. This is the real anxiety, isn't it? The fear that millions of us are just going to be made redundant, practically overnight, by some thinking machine. It's a really powerful story, but does it actually match what's happening in the real world? Well, here's our first big dose of reality. The folks who actually track this for a living are saying there's almost no evidence of widespread AI-driven job loss. The data just isn't there to back up the panic. So, if AI isn't the bad guy here, what is? The answer, it turns out, is in the wider economy. The truth is, the job market of 2026 is being shaped by forces that are a lot more traditional and, honestly, a lot more complicated. I mean, just look at this number. The drop-off is huge. We went from adding almost 150,000 jobs a month to just over 38,000. That's a massive, massive slowdown, and it has very, very little to do with automation. So, this is what's really happening. Businesses are hesitant to hire because they're uncertain about trade policies and tariffs. At the same time, you've got less immigration, which shrinks the workforce, and higher interest rates make it expensive to grow. It's a classic economic squeeze, not a robot takeover. And this is true for new graduates, too. There's this worry that AI is eating up all the entry-level jobs. But experts like Martha Gimbel at Yale, she points to a much simpler reality. A weaker job market overall, and way more people with degrees competing for those jobs. It's just old-fashioned supply and demand. You know, history tells us that these huge shifts, they take time. It's only been a few years since ChatGPT was released. Companies and workers are all still just trying to figure out how to use this thing. Any real disruption, the kind that actually reshapes the whole economy, that's probably still a decade or more away. Okay, so we've kind of debunked the economic myth. Now let's get into the technology itself, and the big misconception that's really fueling so much of this fear. We've all seen it in the movies, right? We read it in headlines, this idea that AI is conscious, that it has its own opinions, that it can make its own decisions. But this is a complete misunderstanding of how this technology actually works. So here's the key thing to understand. AI doesn't think, it predicts. A large language model, an LLM, is basically a super sophisticated pattern matching machine. It's analyzed billions of texts online and has learned the statistical probability of which word is most likely to come after another. It's just math. It's not magic. And this comparison really lays it out. We have memories, feelings, intuition. And AI has data, patterns, and probabilities. It doesn't have an inner monologue. It has no lived experience. And that's exactly why it can't be truly creative or have its own opinions. It's just reflecting the patterns it's already seen. So if AI isn't some job-stealing superbrain, then what is it? Well, the reality is much more practical. It's a tool, just like a calculator or a search engine, and it's here to help you out. This is a question I hear all the time, especially from students and creative people. Is using AI just a shortcut? Does it mean you're not doing the real work? The whole mindset around this is really starting to change. Let's be really clear here. Having AI write your entire essay for you, yep, that's cheating. But using it to brainstorm ideas, to help you refine your writing, or to summarize a dense research paper, that's not cheating, that's collaborating. It's about using a tool to speed things up so you can focus on bigger picture thinking. I mean, nobody calls using spell check lazy. But to be a good collaborator, you have to be smart about it. Remember, these models can be very confident and very wrong. One study found that ChatGPT is just flat out inaccurate about 1 out of every 4 times. So you have to double-check important facts, ask it for its sources, and most importantly, trust your own gut, especially when it comes to personal decisions. Another big fear is data privacy. And the good news here is that you have a lot more control than you might think. Don't just assume every platform is the same. Take 5 minutes, dig into the settings. You can almost always opt out of letting your data be used for training. You just have to be an informed user. And honestly, this might be the most important takeaway of all. This idea that AI is only for coders and tech experts is completely out of date. Modern AI is built for everybody. You don't need to know anything about prompt engineering. That's just a fancy term for writing commands. If you can talk to a friend, you can use modern AI. I mean, just look at these examples. They are simple, practical, and so useful. This is where AI really shines today. Not taking over the world, but helping you manage your budget, communicate better, and understand complex stuff. It's basically a personal assistant for your everyday life. So, as we wrap this up, just remember this. Understanding what's real is way more valuable than buying into the hype. The real advantage in 2026 isn't going to come from just using AI, but from understanding it, knowing what it is, what it isn't, and how it can actually make your life a little easier. The old myths are already starting to fade, so the only question left is, how are you going to put it to work?
Thanks for tuning in to Jobs Are Gone with AI, part of our series The 2026 Labor Paradox, a stagnant market for all. If you found this episode eye-opening, don't miss what's coming next. Hit that subscribe button now and join the conversation about the future of work.